Hey, I'm back with another video, here to share with you some tips on how to bike with your dog. So stay tuned to the end of the video. I got some awesome tips for you. This is Troy with Podify Cycling. If you're new to this channel, I want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. For those of you that have dogs, it's important to consider if it's the right exercise for you and your pet and how to get started right. There's some things you want to consider before going out riding your bike with your dog. Consider 4 things: the size, temperament, age, and breed. When you're going out biking with your dog and you have a puppy, let's say for instance, it's probably not the brightest idea. Consider this scenario. Your puppy riding alongside of you is like you running alongside a motorbike. The puppy can die of heart attack, exhaustion, or a stroke. Now, if you have a small dog, I'm not hating against you, but stay into the middle of this video. I'm going to share with you some gear for your little guy so he can go along the bike ride with you safely. The temperament. You want to make sure that your dog has the right temperament. What do we mean by that? Well, just because you have a bigger dog and they can run well and they're very in shape, doesn't mean they're going to be the right temperament when you go out and ride. Maybe the dog has like a short attention span. Squirrel. Most of them do. And they're going to go off when they see another dog pass by. So you might want to take some time to practice with that dog to make sure the temperament is controllable and it's not going to throw you off while you're riding. Next thing you want to consider is the age. So once again, going back, the puppy is out of the question. I wouldn't recommend going out bike riding with a puppy alongside you. You want to consider too that a puppy is still developing, still growing. His bones are not fully, strengthened and developed. You just can't do that with a puppy. It's better to have a dog of the right age. If you have a senior dog, it's probably not the brightest idea either to go out riding with the senior dog, because they too can probably not regain energy fast enough, maybe not, take in or keep in a lot of water and stay hydrated. Now also, you want to consider the breed. You want to have the right breed of a dog. Now some breeds that you want to stay away from is probably going to be like your I would say pit bull. I'm not against pit bulls, but they are a little bit more aggressive, maybe harder to control. Maybe bulldogs, probably not the best dog to go out with as well as far as the breeds. What you want to look for is like hunting breeds or like huskies. Those are like probably some of the best dogs. Now my next tip is about location. Now I have to say location is everything. I mean, even for you, if you weren't even biking with your dog, you want to probably consider a location that's safe enough for you to ride, right? So for you and your dog to go biking, I probably would recommend staying away from urban areas or heavily crowded areas, just because the safety is going to be an issue. Your dog, can risk getting their paws ran over, run into other people. And a lot of times too, drivers just can't see your dog because they are lower to the ground. Probably don't want to take your dog out on hilly areas, especially when you got to go downhill. It's just not going to be fun for them. They're going to get overexhausted. And also too, narrow areas and narrow trails. A lot of times, people do like to take the dogs out in the rural areas. But if they're like heavily crowded bike trails that are narrow, it may not be the best, place to go. If you are in urban cities and you just can't avoid it. You're in the city. I'm in Sacramento, so there are a lot of cities in where I'm at, and a lot of times if you want to go to a bike trail, it's a little ways away. But if you are in the city, just consider, a lot of people do not like seeing bikes and their dogs on the sidewalk. So you just have to be ultra considerate of people, as well as look out for your dog, because a lot of cars and people, once again, not gonna be able to see them while you're riding. Stay in safe areas, bike trails, and also probably wear reflective clothing. Even give your dog some reflective clothing wouldn't be a bad idea. For those of you that have small puppies, I didn't forget about you. I was going to tell you that I have 4 options to share with you that will help make it safe as well as comfortable for your little puppy to ride along with you on your bike ride. So consider the 4 options. You might want to look into getting a pet backpack. They have front and rear facing pet backpacks, as well as some that are like encapsulated or enclosed, and they're breathable. They're really nice too. I'll leave some links in the description too to all these different options that I'm giving you right now. And then the next option you want to consider is probably like a rack carrier. They now make a lot of rack carriers in the rear of your bike that your dog and puppy can fit into. You just want to make sure though that your dog is not attached by the neck, and also you want to make sure that your dog doesn't jump out. There are some handlebar mounted baskets. And I see a lot of these when I go on bike rides, like bike party or different group rides. So people may want to bring the puppy along, and they'll have like front facing handlebar mounted pet basket. And those are also a great idea too. And then lastly, they also have carriers, kind of like a trailer, a pet trailer that is attached to the rear of your bike. They're fully enclosed and breathable and very comfortable. Your dog can go to sleep, knock out, kick the feet back, and enjoy the ride. So that's another great option too. And like I said, check out the links below. It's going to take you to some places where you can find all these different options that I'm giving you. Learning to ride your bike with your dog alongside you is going to take time and practice. So here's what you do. Practice in a parking lot or maybe a driveway, someplace where it's empty, there's not a lot of cars or people around, and you want to convince or help your dog get comfortable being around your bike. Reward the dog with treats, moving different components to your bike, like the tires, the pedals, or even the handlebars. You want to convince your dog and make sure that they are comfortable with this bike and that it's a good thing and not a bad thing. And that will help them along the way, getting more comfortable when you start riding your bike. Once you reach some level of comfort with your dog being around your bike and moving the different components, you want to move on to actually walking your bike with your dog on the side. You would still want to reward them with treats, letting them know that it's a good thing that the bike is in motion and that it's moving. You also want to try to help coerce your dog to move in the direction you're going. So you're going to have to work on switching left and right, maybe stopping and going, and continue to treat and reward your dog for doing a good job, following along and paying attention to directions. The thing you want to do to help your dog when you start riding your bike, help them to build up more stamina. So let's say that after your dog gets used to walking alongside your bike and it becomes pretty easy and routine to them, the next thing you want to do is start riding your bike with them attached via a bike leash. So you want to slowly bike ride with your dog alongside you and gradually increase the distance over time. So let's say like one day you're going to go out and just ride a mile. Then you notice after doing this about 3 or 4 times out of the month or out of the week, your dog is starting to build up good stamina. And then eventually you gradually build up to 2 miles. Still want to make sure that you don't over-exhaust them and work them out. Gradually make increases as you notice they're making progress. As you notice your dog building up more stamina and getting even more comfortable with you out riding your bike, you want to make sure that you keep a good routine. There's a book out called Bike with Your Dog, How to Stay Safe and Have Fun. Recommends following a good routine. One way to do this, just like as if you were going to go and work out, is to start up with a warm-up. First, take your dog and your bike and just go for a brisk walk, getting the dog warmed up. Then next, start taking a slow bike ride, but enough to where your dog is trotting to keep up with you. And then after that, you want to take some time to actually let the dog cool down and take another walk. This will help build up the dog's stamina, and it will help give them a balanced level of stamina. And you probably don't want to stay out no more than like probably 30 minutes in most of your bike rides when you do this, but eventually increasing that time as the days go by. Then after that, you want to also make sure after every bike ride, it's probably beneficial for your dog just to have a day's break. Give them some time so they can build up that stamina and be ready for the next ride. All right, now for my final consideration. When you're going out for your bike ride with your dog, here's some things you should consider. Number one, you want to make sure that you don't go out on a long bike ride. I know you want to get that long 75-miler, 60-miler ride in, but you might have to save that for another day. Also, too, you want to make sure that your dog has plenty of water. Make sure it's hydrated. Just like you want to be hydrated, make sure your dog has enough water while you're on the ride. Check in with your dog, too. Consider some signs or danger zones that they might be in, whether they're excessively, breathing or breathing irregularly. Check too if their gait is off a little bit and they're just not, have enough energy to keep going. You want to look out for those signs so you don't push them too much and overexhaust them. Consider too not having a leash around the dog's neck when you're riding. The best thing to do is get a harness for around your dog's body. Now you got to consider too, this is going to probably give them more control and pull if it's attached to your bike, but like I said, if you practice and you learn to ride your bike with your dog, have them get more familiar with your bike, this will become a little bit less of a problem. Don't take your dog out when it's like 90 degrees outside or very humid, like in Texas. You want to be considerate of that. They're going to warm up a lot faster than you, and it's just not safe. As well as if it's like really cold outside, like 30 below, you don't want your dog to freeze to death either. So you want to consider, the weather and the temperature and those things too, as far as your location. Speaking of location, you want to make sure too, like if you're in urban cities or if you're out in areas with a lot of people and you just can't help it, just be considerate of other people, not riding on sidewalks, making sure your dog is seen and you're seen as well. And just, keeping it safe, playing it safe, ride the bike lane, try to avoid, really, really crazy overpopulated areas if you can help it. So lastly, you just want to have fun, make sure you go out there with your dog. You guys are having fun. You're not overexerting them. You're not, freaking out. If something happens, your dog cuts you off or something, you just got to be mindful. Things will happen. Accidents will happen. And so you just got to be ready for them, be prepared. If you want more tips, you want to find out more information about anything, that has to do with beginner cycling, check out PUPPIEScycling.com, where you're going to find some helpful resources, information, some more, gear and resources as far as, what you can do, what you can take in as a beginner cyclist. And then also, make sure that you give a like for this video, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.